Hi, everyone, and welcome into the Rochester Press Box. Bill Pucko, as usual, with my buddies. Tariq Spence, how you doing, man?
I'm doing a different blue today because apparently last blue did not help the Giants.
No, that may be beyond help.
It was the blue. That was probably the problem.
Very
And
much
you,
so.
Pat Duffy, are wearing the prettiest uniform, I think, in the 10 years we've been doing the show, I've seen on you.
I love these sweaters. Thank you for calling me pretty. It's the Sabres 50th anniversary jersey from a couple of years ago.
Look at the gold trim.
But I'm wearing it today because I want to wear it as much as I can because it's a Jack Eichel jersey and he may not be too much longer for this community.
Hey, so just to clarify, the jersey's pretty, not him.
Well, you said it, I didn't.
No, you said it, I didn't.
Well, you just said it.
It's true.
So Tom Brady, one of our favorite topics, right? He's got the big game this week.
Yep.
Not just this week. I mean, when the NFL schedule came out, this was the game everybody was talking about. Brady goes back to New England. As neutral observers here, I mean, what do you think? Is this a big deal?
I think so. I think a little bit last week, if you go back to the Rams game last week, he might have been thinking about that game a little bit too much so and not concentrating on the Rams. But that being said, I think, Tom Brady has waited for this moment. He's going to do it in front of the stage. It'll be the highest rated Sunday night game probably in about 6 or 7 years. And it's going to be fun just to see the dynamic of what it's going to be like pregame, what it's going to be like at postgame, what comments are going to be like, who's going to win. I mean, the Patriots are rebuilding. Obviously, we see that. Tampa Bay is looking to go get another ring. So I love the drama of everything that is going on here. Remember, Tom Brady left New England thinking that the New England Patriots thought they made a great decision, and it turns out they did not.
It's all sizzle, no steak. All sizzle, no steak. I love the drama of it, but we've all seen these characters play out before. This game's going to be terrible. The Buccaneers are going to go in and blow them out. The fans are going to cheer like crazy for Tom Brady because he brought them 6 Super Bowls, right? Bill Belichick and Tom Brady are going to cordially shake each other's hands, say 3 words to each other before the game, not talk at all.
2 of them we know.
Yep. They're not going to shake hands after because Belichick and Brady are under no obligation to do it, and that's how it's going to play out. What drama is there?
What's the line on this game?
I mean, it doesn't. Probably about 20 points. But here's the thing about it. What do you mean no sizzle? I want to see the awkwardness, the anxiety, the moment these two teams will finally meet. They've never really met before, so this is going to be fun.
Any other 2 characters in this situation, I would say there would be awkwardness, anxiety. Those 2 guys are awkward and anxious. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, just in general as human beings, right? So I don't know. It's something I haven't seen before.
At opposite ends of the spectrum.
Absolutely. Look, it is what it is, man. This game is not going to be entertaining.
Yes, if Tom Brady throws a touchdown pass, do they cheer or do
They're
they
going to cheer. How do you not cheer for a guy that won the 6th?
How do you not cheer?
How do you not cheer?
He's on the opposing team.
Yeah, here's the thing.
I have a different take on this thing.
Ooh.
Brady got over on the Patriots last year by winning the Super Bowl. I mean, that was obvious to everyone. This is Belichick's one shot. He's got a good defense. He's got a great defensive mind. I'm just saying he could throw it out there. I'm not saying he's going to win this thing, but I say he can make life difficult for Tom Brady and what's going to be the biggest game of the year for him, not for Tom.
Sure.
That he can make a point saying, look, I've still got it.
Look, man, you're a great writer. We've known that for a long time, and you wrote a great story. It ain't going to happen. What is this? He's got a good defense, man. Get out of here with this stuff. They've beaten 2 really, really bad teams. Really, really bad teams, right?
That should only be one of them.
Okay, excuse me. I'm sorry. One really, really bad team. The Dolphins... 17 points and a team at the Bills shutout week. I mean, come on, give me a break here. There's no drama to
That's
this.
still in personnel. They're just generally. Yeah, I mean, it could go by points and stats and stuff. New England's got a good defense.
Okay.
They've got a good defensive mind. I think he can make a game of this, and there's a lot more at stake. So when I see it, there's a lot more at stake, I think, for me, for Belichick than for Brady, and I'll stop.
I agree with that, but let's talk personnel. You got great defensive personnel. Will you look across the other side of the ball at what the Buccaneers are running out? I mean, you could have a Pro Bowl defense, and the Buccaneers are still
But what
going to have
constitutes a
legitimate
win? A couple of picks?
Does
he get a couple of picks?
So Tampa Bay, I think defensively will go after the rookie quarterback. They'll make things a little bit different. If they do get a fumble or a pick 6 or whatever it is, I think it extends that lead. Tom Brady plays more comfortably, throws more touchdowns. They might even run up the score. I don't know if Tom would come out of that game.
Look, I want it to be entertaining. Everything you guys are saying, I want all of these things to happen. But it ain't going to happen.
You really hate Tom Brady.
Oh, why would I not hate Tom Brady? I hate Brady. I hate Belichick. I hate this whole thing. I hate everybody in that stadium.
Who do you hate more?
I think I hate Belichick more. I do hate Belichick more because he's overrated and he's not the genius that everybody thinks he is. It's really easy to look like a genius when you got guys playing on tiny contracts to play with Tom Brady.
That's why he's going to perform well this week.
Can I make one suggestion? Root for Tom Brady because it helps you in the AFC East.
You think I'm worried about the Patriots and the AFC East? Yeah, no, look, whatever.
One more game. What does
I think the Pats cover. I think the Pats will cover. Whatever that line is, I just think there's a lot more at stake for them. This is the Rochester Press Box. We're talking about other football team, the Buffalo Bills, next.
Original Bay Goodman Pizza, located on the corner of North Winton at Browncroft. There are 3 ways to get the original Bay & Goodman delivery. Go to baygoodman.com.
Hello again and welcome back. This is Rochester Press Box, this segment of the Press Box. Our Buffalo Bills segment brought to you by Ralph Honda. For 3 generations and celebrating 50 years as New York's first and oldest Honda dealer. Visit Ralph Honda today and find out how we do Honda right. It's ralphhonda.com. The Buffalo Bills, 16-point favorites. I was trying unsuccessfully to look historically as to when the Bills have been their biggest favorites, and it's been a while. The only thing I could find is like 3 years ago, they went into Minnesota as a 17-point underdog. So that's how the script is flipped.
I mean, that was Josh Allen's coming-of-age party where he's jumping over linebackers, right? No, I think there's been 6 or 7 games where the spread has been similar to this. By the way, the Bills, I think, lost 3 of those games straight up. So
did I say it was 16? It was 16 that came down from
17.
Yes,
I'm sorry, 17. It was 17. It was 17 and a half, and then it moved back to 16. You're right. I apologize. That's my fault. I mean, look, I get why they do it that way. You got essentially a third-string rookie quarterback out of Stanford playing for the Texans. All they had going for them was Tyrod Taylor's performance, which, by the way, breaks my heart that he's not going to. Because, look, remember, Tyrod never got to play another game in Buffalo after he won that playoff game. This was his coming home, let everyone clap for him party, and he's not going to get it. But
it would have been Fitz and Taylor back-to-back.
I was so looking forward to it. But no, I mean, the only thing that makes me nervous is that many points, because as a degenerate gambler like myself, when you see that many points, it's a giant red flag alarm. But, I mean, look, after what the Bills have done the last 2 weeks, what the Texans have, should be one more relaxing week before the gauntlet shows up.
Yeah.
I don't know about a relaxing week. I'm worried about the Texans just a little bit because now you get a little bit more time to prepare for this one. Last week, the third-string quarterback, as you said, came into the game and played terribly, so now he's got a full week of football to get ready for. I think what's interesting about this is that Washington last week did have a bit of a scare in Buffalo early on in that first half of the game where they were down by 7 points. They had the momentum and it's clearly swung the Washington's way. And then Josh Allen truly woke up and became the quarterback we all expected him to be. So it seems to be every time I question Josh Allen, he seems to play well. So should I question him this week against the Texans or should I just go back to the Josh Allen that was been the first 2 games of the season?
I like that the perceived weakness of this team has become one of its strengths now is that defensive line and the way it's playing. Yeah.
It looks unbelievably good. I mean, with Russo and Epinesa and Ed Oliver all of a sudden coming out of nowhere. I mean, we talked about it a little last week. Yeah, like this defense looks legit. And if Josh is rounding back into form, which, I mean, look, he played wire to wire amazing the other day, right? And this defense, I mean, with the way that the AFC is completely turned upside down now, I mean, the Chiefs are in 4th place in the AFC West. I know they're not that bad, but that's there. Vegas is not for real. Denver is not for real. This is wide freaking open, and you might have the most talented team coming into form at the most important time into these 2 games. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy boy.
Is there peaking too early? Are you worried about peaking too early and sort of getting it? Because I think you're going to win a couple of different games going forward.
You're going to peak against Houston.
I mean, I know. It is what it is. But you get your wins against your opponent. It's not their fault. Tyrod Taylor was out. It's not their fault that they missed Fitzpatrick. So you play who you play when you play them. So are you worried about peaking too early and running on sort of this 13-3 run I think they'll go on?
No, like what I mean by peaking right now is you got 2 games. Look, the biggest hiccup of the schedule last year, the season, was the back-to-back primetime games. The Titans won last year. Wasn't supposed to be. You had that COVID debacle where you got blown out in Tennessee, and then Kansas City came to town and you lost on a 1-possession game. Well, you've got that same lineup again. Kansas City Sunday night coming up, Tennessee Monday night. We need to peak there, because if you're going to get a number 1 seed in the AFC, you need to win at least one of these games.
But you're going to beat up on, Miami, you're going to beat up on the Jets, you're going to beat up on New England, and that's going to compile you all the way up to 10 wins.
Sure, but the reason the Bills didn't have the number 1 seed last year was because of the record against Kansas City. The reason they wouldn't have had the 2nd seed is if they would have lost to Pittsburgh, which they beat head up. I mean, look, we're past winning divisions now, man. We're talking championship in Buffalo. Whoa. I got to be looking at seeds, and I'm looking at them, and I like what I see.
Let's just take this week. What do you see with Houston coming in?
Bills win. I don't think it's 16, but the Bills win.
I say 10. I've been saying 10, and he seems to have his head blown. Now he thinks they're going to the Super Bowl.
I don't see him stopping him. I'll give the 16. I'll side with you this week.
Okay.
That's not a good sign. Buffalo Bills segment of the Press Box brought to you by Ralph Honda, like it or not, is next. Here's the Press Box trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
All of these things show Josh Allen has a strive for greatness inside of him.
Falcon Around with Carl Falk. New episodes every Tuesday on Rock Sports Now.
Here's the Press Box Trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. This segment, like it or not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law Firm, attorneys with years of experience defending the accused. Don't go unprepared. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today. Like it or not, this alternate Manning Brothers broadcast on the football game.
Monday Night Football. Can I just change this segment to love it or not? Because I love it. I absolutely love every portion of it. I tried it for the first time, so I'm a little skeptical going in. Okay, how is this going to work? What are they going to say? The Manning brothers make fun of themselves. The Manning brothers talk about football. The Manning brothers bring in guests. They brought in heavy hitters. I know the whole thing, the controversy with Gronk a couple of weeks ago. Then LeBron James making the right call for the offensive play. It's a 50-50 call. I guess he came out on the right side of that coin. But I think it's what it is that it gives you a little bit more football. As a matter of fact, I actually forgot there was a Monday night broadcast. I wanted to hear what they had to say about the game, make fun of themselves, bring in a guest, analyze different things. It was more of a show. I had fun watching it.
You know, it's interesting because baseball has tried something that's in that neighborhood. Some of the local markets have done baseball games where essentially it's a talk show with the baseball game as the backdrop, so they're not telling you who's up or the count. It's all in graphic form. And I miss hearing the game called.
Look, I'm with you 100%. I watch the Manning cast, and I get it. I think it's funny. I enjoy it. I'd rather watch the play-by-play game, but I'm with Tariq. Like, I think it's a brilliant idea. I think that the way that people are consuming sports, especially younger people, nowadays I sound like Bill now, this is what they're looking for. So, yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm with you. I'm more traditional, but how many people are locked in for every single Monday Night Football game every single week, right? Yeah. Like, this gives you an option.
Yeah, we have to say, too, that we thought it would be a great idea to have a camera on him during a Bills game.
It would be unbelievable. I'm surprised nobody else would. I don't know who else would talk to him, but then again, who else would need to?
Nobody talked to me, and it would be one long constant beep for 3 hours.
The who would need to is a good point. Like it or not, the uniform, Jack Eichel. What do you make of the situation?
I mean, I don't know what the heck to think of the whole Eichel thing. Like, I've been saying since the beginning of this whole thing, he was going to start the season on the roster. Everyone told me I was stupid. I also think at some point, you might have to skate Jack Eichel in a Sabres uniform. I mean, you have to show people that he's healthy. I mean, and like there's this debate, right? Because he wants this surgery for his back that's never been done on an NHL player before, and the team is telling him, no, we're going to let you rehab it. We can do it another way. They're worried that it's a risky surgery and it could alter the way that he plays hockey, which affects his value. And it's become an argument about rights to your own body, which I understand. But I think if you have a complaint, your complaint isn't with the Sabres. Your complaint is with the NHL Players Association, who negotiated this deal, which allowed the franchise to make this call. Because, look, they still have $50 million invested in Jack Eichel over the next 5 years, right? It's weird. It's uncomfortable. But the fact of the matter is, he is an asset before he's a person to this franchise, right? Like, you have to protect your assets. So I don't know.
How did this go so wrong? I mean, this was a new starting point for them when they drafted him. And
100%. Well, I mean, look, yeah. The whole thing is bananas. Like, when you look back at the players that they had on this roster together at one time that are now playing very well in other parts of the league. Robin Lehner, the goalie. Evander Kane out in San Jose. Ryan O'Reilly wins the MVP of the Stanley Cup Finals, right? Sam Reinhart's going to go down to Florida this season. He's going to be unbelievably successful. Little pieces along the way. I don't know how it got so bad. I have no idea. But we're here now. So I think he skates in a Sabres uniform this season. I think you have to do it to show other teams that he can still play so you get the value that you deserve, and do not settle for anything less, because he is a top 5 center in the NHL, and those don't grow on trees.
I think it's amazing now in sports how trades are viewed. 20 years ago, you're sitting there like, oh, trade him, don't trade him, whatever the situation is. Now it seems as if people are rooting for players who are in terrible situations to be on a better team, i.e. in football, you get the thing with Stafford, now maybe with Eichel. Like, they're rooting for players to go to better situations because they know their franchises are not up to par.
Ohtani's already hinting about that in baseball.
Yeah.
Like it or not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law and Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
Came now to Eichel. He floated one.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Unfinished Business brought to you by Greg the Roofer. Better roof, better price. Better call Greg the Roofer. Save time and money on your roof, siding, and windows. Call today for a free estimate. Financing is available. That's gregtheroofer.com. Unfinished Business, Pat.
If you watch ESPN, you would be thinking that Mac Jones, quarterback of the Patriots, is going to be the next MVP this season or the season after. And here's what we need to stop doing. Stop anointing young quarterbacks as great quarterbacks a year, 2, 3 years in, and I have proof of it right now. Tony Eason, 1983 draft, best quarterback draft in the history of the NFL. Jim Kelly, Dan Marino, we can go on and on and on. He looked amazing the first 3 years in the league. In fact, it looked like, with the exception of maybe Miami, that the Patriots had gotten the quarterback steal of the draft. He takes the Patriots to the Super Bowl in '85. He gets an MVP vote. It was amazing. And then 2 years later, he was playing with his best friend on the New York Jets, a team that he held out to not go to avoid taking his best friend's job. The point I'm trying to make is this. All last year and in the offseason, we heard about how great Tua Tagovailoa was and the step he was going to take forward and make that team a contender. And here we see with Miami. Jared Goff took a team to a Super Bowl. He was the future, along with Carson Wentz, whose team went to a Super Bowl and would have won even if he was on that roster. Both of those guys on different teams right now. You know I love Josh Allen, and I think the kid's the truth. And I don't want to let this doubt creep in my head, but he has only been in the league for 3 seasons. This isn't about Josh Allen. It's more about this. Take time, watch, because circumstances, players, coaches, offensive lines, change things. And that's how it's starting to look for Matthew Stafford out in Los Angeles as well.
Keeping with the theme of quarterbacks and organizations and NFL, the New York Jets made a decision last year to let everybody go. Terrible season. Questions about the head coach, questions about the quarterback, questions about the GM. And the New York Giants were this close to making it to the playoffs and thinking to themselves, hey, at least we're not the New York Jets. Now, fast forward to 2021, and the New York Giants are the New York Jets of 2020. They have questions about their coach, questions about their quarterback, questions about their GM, and now look to be starting off possibly 0-4, depending on the way that this week goes. Listen, the New York Football Giants, I was worried about their organization, their running back, their quarterback. A lot of people said, believe in Daniel Jones. It's not working. I see Daniel Jones going someplace else. He is a good quarterback, but he is not the New York Giants quarterback. He's not even elite. So for the New York Football Giants, it looks like you're exactly where the Jets were last year. Follow that lead.
Bringing this program full circle, it wasn't always like this. In the early days, the Boston Patriots were the sorriest franchise in the NFL. Of the 8 original football teams, they were the last one of them to join. They were homeless, playing alternately at Harvard, Boston College, Boston University, and Fenway Park. There was talk of moving the team to Tampa, ironically. And in 1968, the Patriots played their home opener in Birmingham, Alabama. They got to the AFL Championship game in 1963. They lost 51-10. The next title they played for was 22 years later. They got closer. They lost 46-10, Super Bowl 20. Their logo was a cartoon. Until Tom Brady came along, the high water mark for the New England Patriots came on December 12, 1982. The snowplow game. The field had iced over. It was snowing in Foxborough that day. The Patriots game with Miami ground into a fourth quarter scoreless. With 4:45 left to play, the Patriots drove inside the Miami 30 and were about to set up to try a field goal. Enter Mark Henderson. Working odd jobs at Schaefer Stadium on a work release program from a local jail, Henderson manned a small snowplow, keeping the yard markers clean. Henderson was instructed by Coach Ron Meyer to veer from the yard line and clear a path for the kick. With Don Shula throwing a fit on the visiting sideline, John Smith came in and kicked a field goal. And New England won the game 3-0. Until the tuck rule, it was the only time the team got over on anybody. So while 6 Super Bowls may seem a bit gluttonous, the franchise paid a steep price to get there, which is why they'll celebrate Tom Brady in the enemy colors this weekend. Unfinished Business brought to you by GregTheRoofer.com. You know that, Tariq, that snowplow is actually in the Patriots Hall of Fame.
It should be. It should be, as well as the deflated football.
Oh, thank you.
You know what I find funny is you say let the fans in the stands enjoy it because they went through a lot of pain. Not like 7 of them did. The rest of them were Patriots fans starting in 2002.
No.
You think?
100%.
Well, we had the chance. That was what was important. I'm going to stick with that. Thank you for joining us. See you next week with the Rochester Press Box.